The Atari Creep YouTube channel is intended for a mature audience. Regardless of the subject matter, this video may contain strong language, simulated violence, and lots of psychological nudity. Viewer discretion is advised. What's up, Creepers and Geekers? Chris, the Atari Creep. How is everyone doing today? Okay, so now we got the Amico pre-orders for the Founders Edition out of the way. I got one locked in. I got my email. Everyone's all happy. They sold out. Congratulations, Tommy and your team. Amazing work. I know we're going to be rifled with updates, as it were, throughout the next handful of months until October, when we finally get this thing in our grubby little mitts and we start playing games. But talking about games, I wanted to maybe have some fun and just chat. I just want to talk to you. No fancy overlays, no gameplay in the corner. I just want to have a word. Is that okay? I hope so, because it's gonna fucking happen. But in all seriousness, maybe a top 10 list of games I would love to have seen on the Amico when it comes out. This is a hypothetical list before you start commenting about licenses and intellectual properties and why you can't do it. This is a hypothetical, just a fun scenario kind of situation. There are a few here that I think that could happen, like number 10 and possibly number 1. But for the most part, just take it with a grain of salt. This is just a fun wish list the Creep has. So like I said, number 10 here is going to be one I think could happen if there was enough voice out there for it. I'm pretty sure there would be. Come up with some kind of like a remix, such as like Nintendo did with theirs. It's my understanding that the Nintendo remixes, it had like a level or two of each one of certain popular Nintendo games from the past, and you had to beat one level to get to the next one, or something to that effect. That's what I'm talking about, though. If that's not the case, then sorry, I'm not Nintendo savvy these days, okay? But maybe taking a handful of the iconic simple action games or something like that from the Intellivision library. I don't know, maybe climbing up in Beauty and the Beast, and when you get to the top level, you end up in Buzz Bombers trying to kill bees, and then you jump off into the... I don't know, but you get what I'm talking about. A level or two of an individual game, and you have to beat that one to get to the next one, and you continue going till wherever it ends up. But I think that would be fantastic, and I think it's very doable. So Tommy, really, seriously, talk to your team if you haven't already about something like that. I think that's a moneymaker. I think people would completely enjoy that. I know I would. Number 9 is, obviously it's a Hail Mary. It's never going to happen, or you never know, right? But I think it's more of a redemption for the Intellivision. And it's to get a port of The Empire Strikes Back. And when I say Empire Strikes Back, I'm talking about the same one that would be on the Atari 2600 and the one that was ported over to the Intellivision. I don't find the Intellivision port of that game as fun. In fact, I think it's lacking quite a bit. And I've noticed a theme with Intellivision, that their games seem a little more crowded. Like Demon Attack seems a lot more crowded to me. And a couple other games. Ironically, we're going to probably talk about Demon Attack at some point later on. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I don't know. Just come up with some kind of modern take on it. I would love to play that. I mean, that's one of my favorite games on the Atari 2600 to begin with. I could play it at any time. So just an updated version of that generation Empire Strikes Back would be amazing. Number 8, Universal Monster themed game. And when I'm talking about that, I mean, we did have Dracula for the Intellivision, and that is a fun game. It's actually an amazing game. Maybe not necessarily a remake of that. Maybe it just could be a generalized Universal Monster game with having a Frankenstein character, the Mummy, the Phantom, the creature from the Black Lagoon. I would really like to see something a little more Frankenstein, monster, eccentric. We got a handful of games, but they're not really the greatest, you know. But something a little bit more modern, but in the same style that the Amico is going for, but with some kind of a classic monster theme. Even if you don't license the Universal Monsters. Now, do we actually need another, say, Castlevania style game? Probably not. That's where I'm thinking when it comes to a modern Dracula style game. Maybe not necessarily that route, but it definitely would probably be a platformer or an adventure of some sort type of game. I don't know. I'm not really good at that kind of thing. But I just know I would love to see some kind of a monster, Universal Monsters, or the like. style game, or a remake of Dracula. That would be really fun. Number 7 is real simple, Spider Fighter. I can tell you right now that's a moneymaker right there, as long as you keep the actual game dynamics from the original. Maybe spruce it up with some pretty graphics, add some power-ups to it, and a couple other little dynamics here and there. I think Spider Fighter would be a good addition. I know I would certainly love to have an updated version of Spider Fighter. There's a game that everyone loves but doesn't seem to get enough love, if that makes any sense. It's the very few who do like it, talk very highly about it, but it's not a game that's really well known. And I would like to see Spider Fighter get some more love in a more modern format. That would be fantastic. This next one is probably going to piss a few people off. Not my choice, but what I'm going to say about it. And this is going back to Redemption. Okay? From me. Again, this is my list. This isn't your list, okay? We may have some cohesion here and there, but this is the Creeps list. But Demon Attack. I think it's a redemption point here with me. I was so excited to try it because everyone kept telling me how good it was. And it just seemed cramped to me. A lot of Intellivision games just seem to have a more cramped atmosphere when it comes to different ports of stuff. The Empire Strikes Back has that as well for me, if I hadn't mentioned it already. Maybe take what's great about the Atari port, which is my favorite. And I know I'm definitely hitting that one up with nostalgic eyes. I mean, that's the one I played growing up. And that's the one I still go to today. But maybe take what's great about the gameplay of the Atari port and then mix it in with the great look and different stages of the Intellivision port and just kind of make a baby with those two and just come up with something that was just very iconic, very recognizable, very player friendly. That's just amazing and updated. Demon Attack, definitely in my books, it's a magic is on your side, guys, has to have some kind of an updated something or other. So Tommy, that shit better fucking happen, dude. Let's see, number 5 I think we're at. Terminator. And when I say Terminator, I mean let's focus on the dynamics of the original Terminator movie. It should be no surprise by now. I think that one's superior to all of them. And that's really all there is to it. And I'm right. So that's all there is to it. But Arnie being the bad guy, I think, is the key here. Fuck him being a good guy. And we could go one of a couple of ways with this one. You could either choose to be the Terminator or be its prey, so to speak. Whether you want to go the Sarah Connor and or the John Connor route, whichever one. However, I think it would be more gameplay style, more fun to play as a Terminator. Not because you're mowing people down and shit, but because think about how much can you really do running away from something in a game. Whereas the Terminator would have to get through obstacles that the Connors have placed, booby traps or being shot at or hit with. I think it would just make more sense for you to be the bad guy Arnie Terminator. Bad guy. Remember, bad Terminator. And pursue the Connors or whoever. You can come up with your own plot line, whatever it is. As long as bad Arnie, I'm going to say that again, bad Arnie is the Terminator and you're pursuing something. I think that could be a fun game. I think there's something to be had there. 4 is one of those sleeper hits, one of those unsung heroes, Bostonian. Bostonian is one of those games that is so amazing and does not get even a quarter of the love it deserves. And I think a lot of the reason for that is because when Galaga came out, they took a lot of the Bostonian cabinets back and they put the Galaga game into those cabinets, and it took a lot of Bostonians out of service and put it into almost obscurity. I know the Atari 2600 just got a homebrew port of the game, and that's fucking balls hot. I would love to see an updated kind of port of it. I don't know if you would call it that. Just to show some love to the Bostonian. I don't think it gets enough credit where credit is due. It's such an amazing game, so fun, and you can see while playing it what is to come. After, of course, we know about it after the fact. You can see the evolution of where things were going and what came out of that game. I think historically Bostonian is a real significant game. It's a sleeping hit that not too many people talk about. So I would love to see Bostonian as a title on the Amico. That would be fantastic. The next is no-brainer. I think it's already in the works. Correct me if I'm wrong, either Tommy or anyone else. Burger Time. Again, another game that as long as you keep the core dynamics of the gameplay, I think that could be a hit as well. Burger Time is just such an amazing game. It's one of the few games I'll say work better on the Intellivision than it did on other systems that I've played. I like the Intellivision version of Burger Time better than the NES one. The NES one technically is a better port, right? More updated, whatever. But I would absolutely love to see an updated version of Burger Time. Number 2, another unsung hero, Beam Rider. Beam Rider is such an amazing game. Unfortunately, Activision came out with it right around that time when the crash was happening, so it probably just didn't get made as much, distributed as much. But it's one of those games that few people know about, but the ones who do revere it. Just like Spider Fighter from earlier. Such a fantastic game, and it doesn't matter what port we're talking about, whether it's on the Intellivision, which is my favorite, believe it or not, or the 2600, or in the 5200, or in the ColecoVision. It was ported all over the place. I've yet to try the 8-bit computer port. I'm hoping to get my hands on one of those soon. I don't know if it's an expensive card. Chances are it is, because it's all expensive on the 8-bit computers. But long story short, Beam Rider is just such an amazing game to begin with. I would love to see it brought back and finally given its just due. You know, it deserves to be put on a pedestal. It didn't get much love when it came out, and it's such an amazing game. Simple, very playable, very fun, and it's an addictive game that no matter how hard it gets, you just have to get that next, oh, I need to get another 5,000 points, or I need to kill another. It's just one of those games that draws you in and keeps you going, unlike a lot of the games from the time period. A lot of Atari games where you play for a few minutes and boom, cartridge on the floor. You grab another cartridge, you play for a few minutes. Beam Rider ain't one of those. Beam Rider is definitely one that keeps you engaged. And it's just such an amazing game. And I would love to see an updated version on the Amico. Number 1 isn't necessarily a game title. It's a style. It's a genre, if you will. And this is one I'm serious about. This isn't part of the hypothetical one. This is actually me reaching out to Tommy and his amazing team and asking for this directly. So if you forward this video to Tommy, or Tommy doesn't get to see it, whatever, just timestamp him right to this point. The rest of it's just all fluff. You can watch it at his own time. I would like a haunted house game. And I'm not talking about, say, a remake of Atari's Haunted House. So if you want to go with that premise and work off of it, that's fine. It's already been done for the Wii, which I've yet to play, but I keep hearing it's just kind of lackluster. I do plan on getting it and reviewing it at some point. But we're not talking about that. I am talking about some kind of an adventure-style haunted house game that's not silly. It's not goofy. I want it to legitimately be creepy, not scary. Not scary. It doesn't have to be scary, because I understand this is going to be a family-friendly console. But I want a certain mood and an artistic vibe to it, and we're going to get to that here in just a moment. It can be a platformer. It can be an over-the-top, looking down, Zelda-style game. I want you to think 60s creepy cartoons. I will point one out specifically and even link it down below so you know what I'm talking about. Or think of Halloween records from the 70s and 80s, the art on those. That's the type of art I would like to see as far as the game design. Mood and atmosphere is all about, is what I'm all about, I should say, with this one too. I want it to be moody and atmospheric and creepy. Again, not scary, not terrifying, but something 11 o'clock at night, I'm bored, the kids are at their grandmother's or something, and mom's away for business. I turn the lights out. I pick up that cool Amico controller that I hope I'm going to fall in love with. It fucking better. And turn it on. Just relax and get into the vibe, get into the mood, and just play through the game, whatever style it is. Again, with that real classic art form for the design, and just a creepy soundtrack atmosphere. It doesn't even have to be music. Enough of the fun, ghosty, whimsical, ooh, kind of shit. Just sound effects, making the atmosphere, just, that is kind of like my dream game. And I'm honestly thinking about designing one myself. I got a couple of game designer programs on my computer which I need to get off my ass and get started working on it. One's for the Game Boy and one's for the NES. And I've been thinking about trying my hand at doing that, something quick and simple, and then maybe expanding upon it and just building my dream haunted house game. But Tommy, you got an amazing crew. If there's one game on the Amico that I want, it's this one right here. I call it Haunted House, call it Spook House, call it a night in the creepy mansion palace thingamabob. You're looking for the urn, or you're just trying to rid the house of ghosts. I don't care what the story is. I don't care what the premise is. Again, it's the art design and the atmosphere I'm looking for. And of course, then the gameplay has to be fun and amazing. So there we have it. That's 10 games that the Creep would love to see on the Intellivision, be it whether it's doable or just as a fantasy, a fun little thing just to talk about. I would love to see something like that, knowing it would never happen. There are a couple on there that I know are doable, and it would be great to see something like that come to fruition. Again, especially the haunted house idea, and of course that remix idea. I bookended those two on purpose. But I thought it would be fun to come on and just talk about this. Now, I want to hear about your list. If you have to write it down below, that's fine. That would be cool. I would prefer a video response, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's keep this going. Let's keep this going. I don't think the Intellivision Amico is getting enough media coverage out there, so let's keep the information going. Let's talk about it. If you have a YouTube channel, I know Brian's Man Cave and Maximum RD and just a whole bunch of other cool cats that have ordered this thing. Even if you didn't order it, what would you like to have seen on it should you get one? You know, I want to see a bunch of video responses on this. It would be so much fun to keep that going. And if you want to do the whole I tag, yeah, go ahead. I'm not tagging anyone. This is open to everybody and anybody who wants to do it. And make sure I know about it. Make sure I know about it. Feel free to link it down below so everyone can see it. And maybe I'll pick out a few of my best and we'll do a revision. And regardless, I think it would just be fun. So guys, go ahead and leave feedback. Thumbs up, thumbs down, all feedback too. The Creep is positive. I hope you're doing well, guys. This is exciting. What an exciting time to be a gamer, right? Regardless if you're into it or not. It's just a lot of really cool stuff has been going on the past handful of years, and I'm excited about it. I hope you are too. And thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, take care. Creep it real. Yeah, bye-bye.